What a frustrating result, ladies and gents. What's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan, for your Jan Reacts video. Qarabag 2, Chelsea 2. I really thought we were going to win this in the end after some changes. A horror show, or a Hato horror half, you could say. Heavily rotated side. It didn't start so well with Lavia coming off injured like instantly. They kind of gave bad vibes. What I took from this game is Estevao is an absolutely insane footballer. This guy is supposed to be a winger. He's supposed to be, he's not supposed to be a winger. He's supposed to be like an inside player. That's where he and the manager sees him long term. But I tell you what, as a winger, he has been devastating for us so far. Cutting inside and going either to the byline, touchline. He looks absolutely insane. He was easily the best player on the pitch by 1,000 miles. Lots to talk about. Of course, a 2,500 mile away trip to Qarabag. A Qarabag that have beaten the likes of Benfica, which is a big win for them. And of course, Copenhagen, I think they got a 2-0 win. They were level on points with us going into this. They remain level on points with us. When they went ahead, they were in the top 8 ahead of, Chelsea, of course. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Man City yet to play. So they've been like a surprise package so far in the Champions League phase. That's why I was saying we cannot take this lightly. It's not great, but it's not the end of the world. What I think this might condemn us to is playoffs, maybe. It depends how we do against Barcelona and Napoli. I mean, Napoli haven't been doing the greatest in the Champions League. But we're going to break down the game, positives and negatives. The subs, a couple of the subs were good. We'll speak about that. I'll show you some of the stats and whatnot. But welcome back. How are you? Maybe disappointed, I imagine, if you're a Chelsea fan. Estevao, by the way, is Chelsea's top goal scorer this season in all comps. An 18-year-old winger, not striker, that's never played in Europe. That is insane if you think about that. If you just deep it for a moment, that's incredible. Anyway, welcome back. A gentle reminder, if you do enjoy the content, drop a like on the video, and why not subscribe as we're closing dangerously. Closing dangerously in? My brain is melted. I've had a long day. Lots of stuff happened today. But thank you for liking and subscribing and, hyping up the video, whatever. A very disappointing result. I'm not overly happy with Maresca's decision to start Tariq George as a striker when you've got both Mark Gue and Delap. It's getting a bit silly now, I think. Like, stop doing it. Just stop doing it. I don't know if he feels like he's got this, sense of obligation to play Tariq George because he's a good footballer. And he was supposed to get a loan, and, he scored a couple of goals playing as a striker. No. If you feel bad for him, give him minutes at winger. And I know that's tough because you've got Estevao and Neto. You've got Gittins and Garnacho. And I think that's legitimately just why he's playing him as a striker. Anyway, let's take a look. This is the lineups. It was a 4-2-3-1 from Qarabag. They played really well, actually. A couple of their players actually are really good operators. And this was us, Rob Sanchez, unsurprisingly. Kind of surprisingly in goal. I thought it was going to be Jorgensen, so I was pleased to see Sanchez. He actually went quite strong. I did call the double pivot of Andre Santos and Romeo Lavia. And I think I called... What did I call? I thought it would be Buonanotte behind Delap or Gue, so I didn't get those, these two players. But I called the wingers. I called the double pivot. I was pleased to see Sanchez in goal. And I was generally, I did think it would be Cucurella, and I thought maybe Hato would be the fullback. But no, he went strong. He went Reece James and Cucurella. Not that either of them massively positively affected the game. And he went Tosin and Hato. Now, I know Hato had the horror first half we'll speak about. But I know Tosin's been given a high rating here on SofaScore, but he's just been disappointing to me. And really, other than that, Estevao, every time he got on the ball, he was just insane. He didn't do anything wrong, basically, and he was always a threat. We hit the panic button. Well, not the panic button, the necessity button to bring it on Caicedo in the 8th minute. Fernandez came on, played well. Garnacho came on, scored a goal. What else? I know Facundo Buonanotte, he's got a slightly higher rating here on SofaScore than Delap. Delap, was okay, actually. He nearly set up Enzo Fernandez very early for a goal from when they came on in the second half. He will be good for Chelsea, Delap. There was a time when Enzo Fernandez's shot hit off Delap as well. But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. Let's look at the freaking stats, shall we? The statistics. Let's do first half, second half of context. First half, they had 1.2 XG to our 0.48. They had two big chances to our none. I'm not, yes, we had more possession. That was always going to be the case. And then second half, similarly, we had slightly better XG. Didn't create a big chance though, but we did have 10 shots to their 10 shots in the second half is good. But you want to score more than one goal, I think. That's my opinion. And we'll quickly go through the timeline. I mean, if you look at attacking momentum, at the end of the first half, and for a little bit of the second half, they had all the momentum. But generally, Chelsea had all the momentum. The opening half hour, it was all Chelsea. It was like, oh, right, cool. Estevao scored what can only be described as an excellent goal. They did get one back. Well, they got a couple of back there. But, we had in terms of the larger portion of the first half, it looked like it was Chelsea's game until that sort of last third, sort of second half. And of course, we scored the goal to make it 2-2, but they were quite happy to sort of sit in and counter on us, and we just thoroughly were frustrated by a low block. It's kind of, it doesn't really. Lavia goes down, Moy comes on. Estevao scores a great goal. It's a Samba boy goal. Santos assisting Estevao. He does well to cut in and score a near post. I thought it originally took a little nick to make it hard for the goalkeeper, but actually it was a great finish, great goal, which was an early signifier that he was going to go on and have a wicked game. Estevao, I actually think possibly his best performance in a Chelsea shirt, and he's looked wicked, but for 90 minutes he was just a constant threat, all right, so we should really talk about what screwed us in this game. I mean, firstly, Lavia coming off in the, what was it? I mean, the substitution was the 8th minute. I think he went down in the 4th minute, Romeo Lavia. And, I mean, this guy, they've healed, touchwood, Reece James. They are healing Wesley Fofana. I worry about Lavia. I don't know if he's going to be, if the juju, whatever we're doing on him, I do worry about Lavia. He's such a good player when he can play. He is still young, so he's got plenty of time in his career, but I just don't know if he's ever going to be ready, if he's ever going to be off the treatment table. It's so concerning. So we had to break, glass for emergency, bring on Moises Caicedo, early doors. And we did, and that would not have been the plan, basically. And he got a booking, of course, for trying to shout at a geezer who he thought was diving. When was that? That was late doors, wasn't it? Yeah, right at the end. So they scored 2 goals in 10 minutes, and both it was Joel Hato who was culpable. So he made a mistake that led to the first goal, and it was a handball for the second. Penalty goal, which was a penalty, of course, conceded. Now, many of you, might be like, it wasn't a penalty. You need to remember that the UEFA rules, so Conference, Europa, Champions League, like this, they are much stricter with the handball rule. If they kick the ball and it hits your hand, it's a penalty, even if it's close. As long as if your hand's not here or like here, if it's like out like that, which it was, it's a penalty. That's just the UEFA ruling. I mean, I hate it, but the one thing that people ask for is consistency, and I regrettably report they are consistent on this. They give penalties for that. So it's conceded a penalty, and it's dispatched. We go 2-1 behind. We fall right down the league table, and they go into the top 8. Of course, we make changes at halftime. I was calling for Hato to come off, but to be fair, I think Joe Cole, someone said in my live on Instagram at halftime that he was asking for him to stay on. He did stay on. He didn't concede another goal. Probably that would be good for his confidence. Fine. But we do see 3 changes. Santos comes off. Of course, he got the assist for Estevao, but he was on a booking. So maybe that was the tipping point. Gittins for Garnacho and George for Delap. So I definitely wanted George for Delap because George is not a striker. What are we doing with this? I can't keep having this conversation with you guys because we're going round and round in circles here, mate. Do you know what I mean? He simply cannot just because in some game states he'll be in a high value shooting position, he will take a shot and score. Great, but he can do that as a cutting inside winger. It's just pointless. It's pointless. I do genuinely feel like there's a sense of obligation to give him minutes, and we're just sort of shoehorning him into striker. Maresca demonstrated he was taking this game very seriously by playing Sanchez over Jorgensen, by playing Reece James over Gusto, by playing Cucurella over, Hato playing out wide as a fullback. He's showing he meant business. He did rotate the double pivot like I expected and predicted. But, I didn't think he'd start Joao Pedro, and he started him, who's, a high-profile player, even if he's dipped in form. I know he got a goal the other day, but his form has been dipped. So Maresca demonstrated he's taken it really, really seriously. So why play freaking, Tyreek George as a striker? Play Gue and then Delap, half and a half. I'm just done with the George experiment. So yeah, Hato's horror half. Saw 2 goals conceded that, obviously cancelled out Estevao's opener and what saw us go behind. We make good changes, and actually within 10 minutes, within like 7 minutes, we equalise with a goal through Garnacho. I think he's trying to square it. The ball comes back to him. He finishes with his weaker foot, I believe. It's a great goal from Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho will score goals. He forced a good save late on with a scissor kick. That's the kind of player he is. He also screwed up when a simple moment where he should have just held the ball up and play, and he tried to do too much of a clever flick, and it turned over possession, and we were in trubs, mate. Yeah, so everyone made their changes. Both sides made 5 changes, and they saw out in 5 minutes stoppage time a draw, which sees them, have a good result against the world champions in Chelsea. Chelsea are in 10th place, level on 7 points with... Hold on, how many games? So Barca are yet to play. They played tonight. They're 6 points behind us. Newcastle, same played, same points. Sporting, same played, same points. Atletico Madrid are a point behind us, same played. Galatasaray. It's not the end of the world. Man City and Dortmund are also on 7 points, but they're playing each other. So we'll remain on the same points as one of them. And of course, top 8 gets you automatic qualification. It genuinely isn't the end of the world if you turn up in the big games. Yeah, if you turn up in the big games, you can still get top 8 qualification. That's going to be tough because you look at the teams currently sitting in the top 8. Yeah, maximum points are Bayern Munich and Arsenal, who probably are the 2 favourites for the Champions League. Vomiting everywhere. PSG, the holders. Inter, they always get to finals. Real Madrid, it's their competition. Liverpool, they're back and feeling good. Tottenham are a point ahead of us. They might drop away, maybe. I don't know. But then Borussia Dortmund, that I think are about to drop out, from... or if they draw, whatever, they'll stay there. It's tough, man. But I think you got to be in the top 24. You got to be between, 9 and 24 to get into the playoffs. I don't think we'll not qualify for the playoffs, but it's you really do want to get into that top 8. And Qarabag is kind of the one where you needed 3 points. Fair enough. Bayern Munich, they're the favourites for the competition. We lost 3-1. We actually gifted them all 3 goals away in Bavaria. But, we could have lost, 2-1, 4-1. Losses are loss. Bayern Munich are amazing this season. They've got a 100% win record in all competitions. Fine. That was the game you lose. We beat Benfica. We slapped up Ajax. Really, you wanted to beat Qarabag, but you travel to Azerbaijan. You get a draw. It's not the end of the world. And what do you take away? You learn a little bit. You learn about Hato's, maybe not being ready in certain elements. You learn that Estevao is just absolutely insane. Garnacho scores another goal for Chelsea. I mean, if Maresca finally learned that I can't play Tyreek George as a striker, I'll be taking that home as a positive. But I don't feel like he's ever going to learn. So, yes. Chelsea, I'm just going to quickly see about our fixtures. 1 second. Let me just pause the record. Okay, so we're on 7 points. I think you need 15 or 16 to get into the top 8 last season. So we need 8 points, really, don't we? We need another 8 points. And I'm going to look now at our Champions League fixtures. I think we have 4 left. Is it 4 left? Yeah, it is. So a maximum of 12 points. We've got Barcelona at home. If we win that, we'll be filling ourselves. That's the 25th of November, so that's 20-day time. I think that's unlikely. They haven't been amazing this season, Barcelona. They've had their own problems. And we're at home under the lights. We could beat Barcelona. But even like a draw maybe would be a good result, I suppose. Atalanta away. Again, if we can't win to Qarabag away, we might screw up there. We've got Paphos at home. You'd have to say 3 points. And then you got Napoli away. If we can get 6, 7, 8 points. Yeah, 15. Yeah, we like 2 draws and 2 wins. It's still doable to get the top 8 qualification. It's just that horrible fixture, isn't it? Azerbaijan away, rotated team. Like, I don't know. It's the one you don't want, you know? 2 home games and then 2 games in Italy. Italy's not Azerbaijan. Do you know what I mean? Naples and there's a Bergamo. What's it called? Where's Atalanta and Bergamo? Yeah. Estevao's good, isn't he? Look, it's annoying, but it is what it is. I would have loved. I said 3-2 in my match prediction. I said it was going to be really tough, and it could have been 3-2, but it wasn't. It was 2-2, and that sucks balls. Anyway, there'll be a proper Chelsea news video back tomorrow morning, so do keep it locked. If you do want to, obviously, it's heavily more edited, more precise content, a little bit of personal news as well. I am looking to move house in the coming months. So I'm looking for a bigger workspace, actually, different environment to film in, which would be nice for me, or freshen up my work essentially, and it should look different as well. I'm kind of I'm toying either with going back to the green screen with the little lapel mic like I used to, and like have graphics and stuff, or actually building like a little set so the camera won't be so close. So I'll still be on like one of these mics, but I'll be like further back on like a chair with maybe like a side table, which I think would be kind of cool. Like building like in the corner of a room, like on not a computer chair, like an actual comfy chair, and maybe like referencing stuff on an iPad. That would be fun, I think, for daily Chelsea news. Anyway, I'm just spitballing here. So do keep it locked, and I do hope to see you back here soon, guys. Take care. It'll be alright. Peace.